When you buy a new computer, boot it up, and click the internet icon, you feel like you're making a choice. But the reality is, 9 out of 10 people are just handing their digital lives over to whatever default browser came pre-installed on the device. Let's look at how the global browser market share actually breaks down. This chart shows Google Chrome completely dominating, eating up roughly 2/3 of the entire internet. Safari and Edge sit far behind, picking up the remaining scraps of the mainstream market. Now look all the way down here at the bottom. Options built specifically to protect your data, like Brave, Mullvad, or LibreWolf, barely even register as a fraction of a percent. There is a very specific economic reason Chrome and Edge are handed to you for free. You aren't the customer. You are the product, and your personal browsing habits are being continuously harvested and sold. Sticking with these defaults compromises your privacy and actively bogs down your machine, burning through your computer's processing power just to serve you more ads. Load up a standard local news website on a default browser and listen to what happens. Your laptop fan spins up, the device gets physically hot to the touch, and your battery starts draining faster. It's not the text of the news article causing that. It's the silent barrage of auto-playing videos, hidden background trackers, and massive banner ads fighting for screen space. Every single one of those elements requires your CPU, your RAM, and your internet bandwidth to load. You are paying for the electricity and the hardware to host their advertising. Take that exact same web address, paste it into a browser like Mullvad, and the difference is immediate. The videos and pop-ups disappear, leaving clean, quiet white space where the tracking scripts used to be. But a lot of people hesitate to make that switch. There is a very real fear that if you install a strict ad blocker, you're going to break your banking website or lose access to your favorite YouTube extensions. You are left trying to navigate a frustrating trade-off. How much everyday internet functionality are you willing to risk to get an ad-free, private experience? To figure out your options, we first have to group Chrome, Edge, and standard Safari together. These are the default traps. Using them means accepting that your clicks, your location, and your time spent on a page are being monitored in the background, constantly. A single visit to a mainstream site initiates dozens of unseen connections to third-party data brokers, far beyond the specific server you intended to reach. Maintaining all those invisible connections requires processing power. Your computer runs slower because it's forced to multitask, reporting your behavior back to advertisers instead of loading the page you asked for. These browsers are built to operate as surveillance tools first and internet navigation tools second. Your hardware's efficiency is simply sacrificed to keep the data flowing. If you want to drop the defaults without completely upending your daily workflow, your first option is the seamless Brave. To judge how it performs, we're going to use this comparison matrix to grade our options on 4 criteria: ecosystem, privacy, efficiency, and compatibility. Because Brave is built on Chromium, the exact same underlying engine as Chrome, it earns the highest marks in compatibility and ecosystem. Every Chrome extension, bookmark, and YouTube feature you rely on right now will work flawlessly. But unlike Chrome, Brave blocks those trackers natively. You get high privacy right out of the box, meaning fast page load times and stripped-out ads, without having to configure a dozen different settings. There are compromises. Brave comes loaded with its own built-in crypto bloatware that you have to manually turn off. And ultimately, by using it, you are still supporting Google's monopoly over web engines. Still, for the average person who wants an immediate reduction in ad clutter but refuses to sacrifice convenience, Brave is the path of least resistance. If you're willing to trade a tiny bit of convenience to truly cut ties with Google, you step up to the privacy purists, tools like Mullvad and LibreWolf. Looking back at our matrix, these purist options stack up entirely differently. They utilize a hardened Firefox engine. By breaking away from the Chromium ecosystem, you reject the code and standards Google uses to control how the web operates. These browsers are aggressive. From the second you open them, they strip out data telemetry and visual trash, leaving you with an incredibly efficient, lightweight footprint. The trade-off is strict. Because they actively block site trackers, you will frequently find that websites forget your login information, or that certain page elements simply fail to load. You will encounter minor daily friction, but for users who value knowing their data is locked down by default, that friction is entirely worth it. Then there is the extreme end of the privacy spectrum. For absolute anonymity, there is Tor. Tor doesn't just block ads, it masks your identity by bouncing your internet traffic through multiple randomized encrypted layers all over the globe. The cost of that complex routing is speed. Your bandwidth is severely throttled, making even simple page loads incredibly slow. The compatibility cost is massive, too. Mainstream streaming sites and banking portals will frequently block Tor access entirely because they cannot verify where your connection is originating. Extreme anonymity is a specialized, tactical tool for high-risk situations. It is not designed to be a viable daily driver for standard browsing. You don't need to pick the absolute strictest option to improve your digital life. You just need a strategy based on your own technical tolerance. Let's follow this logic pathway. Rely on Chrome extensions? Download Brave. Want to break the Google monopoly with strict data protection? Choose Mullvad or LibreWolf. Need absolute operational security? Use Tor. Success comes from choosing the tool that matches your specific workflow, ensuring you don't abandon privacy out of frustration. Leaving the defaults behind yields measurable returns. Faster page loads, lower RAM usage, and instant visual clarity. Test it yourself. Load up your local news site on your current default browser, and then pull up the exact same article on a fresh download of Brave or Mullvad. See how much white space returns to your screen. Taking deliberate control over your browser choice takes less than 5 minutes, and it is the single most effective action you can take right now to reclaim your privacy and your hardware's performance.